I'm Addison Smith with Campus Reform. We're at the University of Northern Iowa today, asking students about several colleges and professional associations' oppressive or inclusive language guides, suggesting words like policeman, handicapped, addict, prostitute, and more are harmful terms, and suggesting politically correct alternatives for them. We're going to get students' reactions to this and see if they can guess what PC epithet these colleges and organizations are suggesting. Would they use this on their campus? Let's find out. Administrations have issued what they call inclusive language guides in order to combat what they would call hate speech. Does that sound like something that you would be on board with?
For sure. I think it's important to speak kindly, even if it impacts free speech.
I think it's a good thing. It really costs me nothing. It doesn't do anything to me to speak inclusively.
I think it can be necessary in certain situations, but I think if we begin to try to alter words or make them more politically correct, no longer allows you to have that freedom of speech that we always talk about.
I don't know how I feel about it. Even if it's not nice to say, depending on the context, you should still be able to say it.
I think I'm for free speech, but I think that free speech has lines to it.
I have a few of the terms I'm going to read off to you, and then I'm going to see if you can guess what word or what phrase they're asking to be replaced with the word. The first one is policeman. You need to replace it with...
Public service worker.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Cops?
Officer. Police officer. So it's a gendered term. They don't want students to use gendered language.
That makes sense.
The next one is addict, like a drug addict.
I have no idea.
User?
User.
Some more like a medical terminology. More so.
Person with substance abuse disorder.
That's a mouthful. I'm sorry, that's not funny, but that's a mouthful. That's a lot to say.
The next one is handicapped.
Special disability, special need.
Disabled?
I don't know.
Disabled. Nah, disabled's probably worse, man.
I don't know.
So it would be person experiencing blank condition. Calling someone morbidly obese.
Physically challenged? I have no idea.
Overweight.
Person suffering from
Obesity, yeah.
I don't see a good way of saying that.
Person experiencing a blank condition, whether that's weight condition or weight disorder. Prostitute.
Sex worker.
No idea on that.
I've seen buttons saying protect sex workers, maybe sex workers.
Person who engages in sex work instead. Last one would be homeless person.
I have no idea.
What causes them to be homeless?
I don't know. Person without a temporary residence or permanent residence.
Yeah.
Person without a living situation at the moment.
A person experiencing housing insecurity.
Interesting.
What do you think about these alternatives?
I like all of them. If the groups who would be labeled these things prefer these, I would be totally on board for switching the language.
I mean, they're good as long as they're kind of more distinct. As long as they're suggested, why not?
Yeah, see, all of that, I guess I get the purposes and the reasoning behind it, but who is starting these conversations? Are they the people?
Come on in.
I'm sorry, can you tell me who's saying that? Genuinely, because even the terms you're using, they're not gendered. They are not gendered. They're gender neutral in the first place.
Except for policeman.
No, police is gender neutral.
They're asking to replace it with police officer.
It's the same thing, isn't it? There's
though.
no one saying that.
I think that would be easy to change the verbiage. It just will take time.
I feel like some of it's unnecessary, but if you feel that way, you should be able to express that.
Up until now, had you ever heard of or thought of those words as being harmful or offensive?
Not really, to be honest, but I see how they definitely could.
I mean, no. I guess I'm not up to date on the correct things to call people.
I don't think they're offensive. I feel like they're just telling the truth. I understand the difference, why you would want to switch that language, especially policeman. I didn't even think
Gendered.
Right, yeah.
So if your college were to implement these language guides, would you go along with that?
Yeah, if they suggested it.
For sure, I'd put an effort in to speak in a way that's more inclusive.
I would forget most of them. They're pretty long, but I mean, I could try.
I think if they require it, then that kind of gets into muddier waters, but...
What do you think they're doing it for?
I would say recruitment. If campuses are speaking people want to be spoken to, they'll be more apt to come there. I feel like a lot of the people on the board don't even use the verbiage that they're asking their students to use.